Welcome Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' to the Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
Ed Gein, Demon Hunter, on Indiegogo. After a deranged demon escapes the bowels of hell, Satan is forced to send a damned soul back to Earth as a demon hunter. Armed with a sacrificial dagger, Ed returns to his old stomping ground to capture the demon before the universe is destroyed. Ed Gein, Demon Hunter. Issues 1 and 2 available now on Indiegogo. Prepare for the ultimate face-off.
We've crossed paths more than once. I've whispered in your ear, shown you harmless little temptations. I am unknowable, yet you know me intimately. But you can always know me better. Collected here are 20 twisted tales that will thrill, chill, incite, and delight you from some of the most imaginative minds your species has to offer. This exclusive Indiegogo printing of The Devil You Know Better will be limited and numbered, with signatures from Mike Barron and Hart D. Fisher. Stretch goals achieved for this campaign will add interior chapter illustrations by Stefano Cardacelli. The Devil You Know Better. Back it on Indiegogo today, while you still can.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Infamous gunslinger Desmond Gibbons, better known across the Wild West as the Cactus Kid, comes to the sleepy town of Clarkson. Trouble finds him in the unlikeliest of sources, the sheriff. After their conflict, the Cactus Kid finds himself inexplicably wearing the badge of a lawman. Later, while on the trail of a serial killer, he and his deputy run afoul of a powerful druid, and the events that lead to the Cactus Kid's transformation into the hulking, four-armed projectile reptile are even more than the druid bargained for. From the Wild West to current-day Los Angeles, where he meets superheroes Black Eagle and Red Hawk, and forms an uneasy alliance with the stunning but deadly Kitty Hawk. Join the projectile reptile on a journey of gunslinging druidic magic, superheroes, and artifacts. Projectile Reptile from Dojo Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and I do answer the phones for Critical Blast Consulting. Tonight, we are going live with that gun-toting gecko, the projectile reptile, and to tell us a little bit more about what that means, we have with us Mr. Dojo Kun from Dojo Kun Comics. How are you, sir? You are muted. That is how you are.
Muted. Can't say thank you if I'm muted. Thanks for having me on, RJ. How are you doing?
Glad to have me on every time, man. So I love the rhyme, but there's got to be more to that than more to it than that, right? I mean, how did this projectile reptile thing come about?
Well, I saw the popularity of anthropomorphic superheroes and characters throughout CG, like, for example, the Octopus Cowboy and AR-15 Orangutan and Six Gun Gorilla from Brian Kriskow. And I thought, those are great inspirations. And I had an idea, and the rhyme is kind of fun because, like I said, backstage, I was once a rapper, so I had fun with that. And also, too, I wanted to have a story that started in the Old West and then was brought forward to current day. And I've been with Siamese, the first campaign I did, I had it set in Los Angeles. And this character and other characters introduced in this book are going to eventually interact with Siamese. So it's all part of my connected superhero universe. This will be, hopefully when we're funded and fulfilled, this will be the second graphic novel out there from Dojo Kun Comics, and they'll intertwine.
Speaking of intertwining, I'm sitting here thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great if you could have like an independent posse of Six Gun Gorilla and Octopus Cowboy and Projectile Reptile, and I'm sure there's somebody else if we would just think about it long enough.
Jack Irons, yes. So I keep forgetting that Jack Irons is Old West because I keep thinking more like what was that cartoon series? Eyes of the Fox, Ears of the Wolf, Brave Star. I keep thinking is more future setting, but you got people in the chat here. Mike Walters has popped in to say hi and shared and liked the stream. Appreciate that. Mike.
John Della Rose is out here saying hello to Dojo Kun. Glad to see you out there in the audience.
He'll soon be on my show too.
Yeah, Herrenberg's always here to put the links out there. Appreciate all the work you do with our ranch, sir.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it is it's its own genre that I think the indies have created, the anthropomorphic Western, and not even anthropomorphic Western, because that would just be a Looney Tunes cartoon. This is an animal in a human setting.
Right.
So it's got that difference to it. It's because he's not just going to walk into the saloon and people are like, oh yeah, it's that lizard sheriff. They're going to like, what the?
Exactly.
Possibly start drawing and shooting.
Well, as a matter of fact, like the trailer mentions, when he comes to town, he's just an infamous gunslinger known as the Cactus Kid. So I had honestly originally written it as if it was just a Western and Cactus Kid was going to be the main character. But when I decided I was going to make this part of the connected superhero universe, I had to spice it up a bit. So I decided how then is he going to hold his own in the superhero universe? And I know that I think it was Kid Colt or the Two Gun Kid, one of those guys anyway, became part of the Avengers, was somehow brought, forward in time to serve with the Avengers. And I'm sorry, that seems a little silly that this guy with 2 6 guns could hold his own with Iron Man and Radioactive Man, etc.
They did it with Conan.
They did it with Conan. They actually did it with Red Wolf too.
Yeah.
So it just took some creative writing. This one here, I am going to bring it forward, like I said, to current day, but that doesn't mean there won't be flashbacks or maybe even a return to the past.
A lot of time that can happen in between, slices of story.
Right.
I saw in the video, of course, he gets this curse, for lack of a better term, put on him by a druid. Now, you don't think of druids in the Old West. I would, think of shamans at the easiest, and maybe gypsies at the outside. What in the world is a druid doing in the Old West?
So he's on a pilgrimage, and he's making his way west to escape justice. Cactus Kid is also looking for someone, and their paths cross. Their two stories are completely unrelated until they run into each other this way.
And it's sort of like the comic trope of two guys who are main characters in the story are going to meet, and they don't hit it off.
They really don't.
So he's going to end up in Los Angeles. I want to ask, but I know it's a story point that you really can't get into. Is he just long-lived, or is he time-warped?
I'll go ahead and reveal that one. It's a form of time warp.
Okay.
And he's going to be, as one would expect, sort of a fish out of water. Like when Captain America wakes up, he runs out into New York City, and he's just like, whoa.
So the whole culture shock.
Right. So Projectile Reptile is going to have that to deal with. He's going to have his new form to deal with. So he's going to be really trying to wrap his mind up around all this. And, of course, things aren't peaceful for him when he comes to present-day Los Angeles. And he's got a whole bunch of things to deal with there because, just like you said a little while ago, when he walks into a saloon in the Old West, if he's in lizard form, people are going to freak out. Well, that doesn't change if he walks into a Starbucks either. That's true. Although people in the Dojo-kun universe will be perhaps a little more accepting of supers and their various forms, it's still going to be quite a shock to see this hulking four-armed lizard dude walk into wherever you are.
Now you said when he's in his lizard form, does he have the capability of going back, or does he have no control over it, like a werewolf or something?
He has no control. That's right.
But he does go back and forth. Then he's not like permanently in the body of the lizard.
Perhaps.
Okay. No, I'm digging it. I'm kind of remembering back in the 80s. Remember when they took Jonah Hex and they just threw him forward in time?
Right.
Hex
yeah.
series?
And he had that like piece of skin that went across. I don't know what that was about. Was he burned or something?
He was tied up by Apaches, and they put a torch to the side of his face.
Oh, okay. I wondered what that was about. Okay.
Yeah, that gave him a very distinctive face, and they never pulled it off in film very well. But because it'd be too horrific. They wanted a good DC Comics movie cowboy show. I watched it. I don't remember what it was about, but I know I didn't like it.
You see, yeah, I have not yet watched it. I plan to someday, but I'm just not excited about it. So maybe someday.
Yeah, but the thing with time travel is that one of the things you can always hope for if you've been thrust into the future, like Hex was someday you'll find a way back. Of course, Hex knew he was going to find his way back because he found his body, and it had been stuffed and put into an Old West museum. They'd actually found it in an old Batman issue. Once it was like Brave and Bold or something. Because I remember the bad guys had the drop on Batman. They were in the museum, and something kicked the Jonah Hex body over, the taxidermized body, and the gun went off. I was like, they kept it loaded right there in his hand the whole time. Made perfect sense.
Right. Because comics.
Because comics. That's just like the knife display in Alan Moore's Swamp Thing story with the werewolf, where the knives were all displayed in the store, blade up. Like,
right.
Like, first time you see that, I'm like, that's Chekhov's gun right there. That's Chekhov's kitchen knives. Those are going to come into play, and they did. But is your character looking for a way home, or is he like, well, I'm here. This is weird.
Oh, yes, he'll definitely want to go back. He has, well, first of all, the mission he was on, he's looking for someone, and I don't want to give away just yet who it is he's looking for, but it's a mission of passion for him. So he wants to go back for that purpose. He obviously is unfamiliar with where he, is teleported to, or whatever you want to call it. So he just wants to go back to home. And but it's not going to be the same kind of trope like the Hulk, where it's constantly leave me alone, leave me alone. And also, too, I don't want readers to think that this is just going to be one of those time travel books where every problem he faces he'll just fix by going back. No, that kind of trope I've seen done so many times. It's not only tiresome but lazy, I think. So I'm going to make it more significant when things change as far as time is concerned.
So he's looking for somebody desperately, and that person's not in the future.
Right.
Comics Fans Letters page for issue number 2. Get an Ancestry account and look them up and find out where they died. And then when you go back, you know where to go.
That may not occur to him.
Probably not. You know, he doesn't even know what a computer is, let alone, you know, Ancestry.com or Google.
Nor would he have any idea that your computer is in your back pocket with your camera and your alarm clock and your
which would make it kind of ironic that the key to all his answers has been walking around with him the entire time he's in modern day LA.
Right. He may not even know to ask someone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I've got to go back and find it. I can see the scenes. Like, I got to go back and find this person. I don't know where they're at. And so we go, they're good. Oh, he's gone. Never mind. So this is a full-blown graphic novel, then. This is not just a 22-page floppy.
No, it's going to be at least 48 pages. I recently got the first round of edits back from my editor, and he's got some fantastic suggestions. I think it's going to add some pages, though, because some things got glossed over. And that was one of the things I asked him to do. I said, I'd like you to read it twice, at least. Number one, go through it as if you're a fan. And just tell me, does everything make sense? Is everything exciting? Is it a book you enjoyed reading? Then go back through and look for anything that were continuity edit mistakes, anything where I made assumptions that the reader should know this already, because it's up here. That doesn't mean the reader already knows it. So make sure that I didn't make any of those leaps, you know?
Yeah, because you know where you're going, and it's like when you're driving the same route over and over again. You know you're here, you know you left there. You don't really remember any of the stuff in between because it's just, you know, instinct.
Right.
So it didn't really happen. But yeah, I get the thing with the writings. You know the reason. You may have forgotten to put that reason down for something. It leaves the readers all lost. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm a reader and it happens. But it's just annoying when I'm the writer.
Yeah, I don't want to take the readers out of the story by making them wonder, well, how did we get from A to B? There was no transition. There was no motivation. I want to make sure that it's clear when I change scenes why I did.
Exactly. Herrenberg's agreeing with me that Jonah Hex was not good, and Tallulah Black didn't have her missing eye or scars like in the comic either. I don't remember her in the comic. I remember Mei Ling. I remember El Papagayo. I didn't get either of those. They were going for something more photogenic. Yeah, Megan Fox was hot. Movies want people to be pretty in them. They don't want their heroes to be all scarred up. And of course, like Herrenberg, you can follow Brian and Dojo Kun Comics on Twitter at the Dojo Kun Comics. What do you call it on Twitter? It's not the homepage or anything. You know how Twitter works, folks. Just click it. So I'm also thinking of Rango, but you know that was again the entire cast was lizards and newts and stuff like that. So with very little to go with, this is just folks, if you click the link, which is right below the video, this is what you get right now. I've got a logo to go with here, and a few headshots. But I guess tell us about, you know, because you know he's going to cross paths with the other characters in your Dojo Kun universe, which means probably Siamese at some point.
Right.
But you've got a ton of other characters, and you mentioned Black Eagle and Red Hawk, which I've not heard of them yet from your comics. Are they new characters, or are they like this is your hook character to bring you in?
Black Eagle and Red Hawk both made their first appearance in the ash can that came with Siamese. It was called Meanwhile. And in fact, they appeared on, I think, 3 pages in that ash can. Those 3 pages will reappear in this graphic novel to tie the story together.
Okay, I get it. So that's when this happens. That's when those scenes happen, is in this book.
That's right.
And I'm going to guess, just because it's comics, they're going to see him and say, "Ah, monster, time to fight."
Actually, they'll be looking for him. He sees them and thinks, "Oh, they're pursuing me. Time to fight."
Of course, why not? Now, I think one of the interesting things here is that he's turned into a giant lizard, but he's almost turned into a giant thark, because lizards only have 4 limbs, and he's got 6. So he kind of looks like he's from Barsoom, from the John Carter universe, where they had the 4-armed giant green
okay.
man.
Yeah, I was saying, sorry, I'm lost on that illusion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went all science fiction geeky there on you. Yeah, in the John Carter of Mars, the male Martians were like 8 foot tall, green, and they had 4 arms and then 2 legs. How did the multi-arm thing come around? I mean, that's not lizardy. That's just monstery.
Right. So this page will be on the campaign, so it's not too spoilery to tell you. The druid is trying to do something to the Cactus Kid. The Cactus Kid, however, grabs a spell book that's sitting on the table at the same time, and the druid warns him, "Don't do that." And of course, they're at odds, so he's not going to do as he's told. So what the druid intended to do and what actually ends up happening are 2 very different things. And that's what the trailer alludes to, where the events that lead to his transformation is way more than the druid bargained for.
Oh my goodness. I'm thinking of something that's probably not what you were thinking of, but as soon as I realized, I should have realized, because we're druid, that there's magic and eldritch energy involved. Now I'm thinking Lovecraft, and there were stories in Lovecraft where Randolph Carter, namesake, found himself in the body of an insect, more of an insect creature, but it was tall and green and it had multi arms. Like, maybe this isn't a lizard after all; it just looks lizardy. This is an alien that he's inhabiting. Zip. And Heroinberg was thinking the same thing I was thinking here when he's like, "Hey, why has it got 6 limbs?"
Right.
So I'm sitting here thinking, "Oh yeah, desert gecko, something merging." But no, there's magic involved in here. This thing's not of this earth.
He's also got some other characteristics, like he's got the fins that a frilled lizard has on the side of his head, and so he's got quite a bit of different attributes, and he just begins to explore the powers he has in this book. He will come back in a later issue from Dojo Kun Comics, and he will have the opportunity to explore more.
But he's got to have a lot of holsters.
That's right. Yep.
Because that's he's got you outnumbered 4-1 if you try to draw on him.
And it's proven earlier in the book that he's already a good draw. So,
yeah. So is he? What are his physical stats, for lack of a better term, now that he's lizard?
His number one, his size has increased. He's about 7'5" as Projectile Reptile. Given that additional mass, he has also additional muscle strength, so he's stronger than any human that you would encounter. Nothing like the Hulk level or anything, but certainly stronger. His reflexes were already pretty quick. Like I said, he was a trained gunslinger, and this only enhanced them. And then he has other senses that have been 100-fold enhanced that will come to play as he's looking for people.
This druid is not really great at cursing people. You're like, oh wait, I just made you stronger and better, and
yeah, right.
You're ugly, but judging from if you scroll down and see the panel, doesn't seem like the saloon girls seem to really care all that much.
Oh yeah, go ahead and scroll down to that. Show them the covers.
You're in charge.
Oh, you got mine up. I see.
You're driving.
All right, yeah, let's do that then.
Oh,
Hey,
wait a second.
oh, there we are.
That was weird. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Yeah, there's a picture there.
So
So yeah, that
this,
picture in the middle is
yeah. So the cover on the left is by the interior artist Caius. The cover in the middle is by Renzo Rodriguez.
I know him.
The trading card on the right of that 3-panel piece right here is by J-Bot Art.
I don't know him. He's a new guy to me.
Yeah, he is new to CG, and he's got several different styles. In fact, RJ, you might be familiar with the style he showed to me the other day, and I had to ask him what it was. But once he showed me an example, I was like, oh, yes. He drew Projectile Reptile in the rubber hose animation style. And the rubber hose is like animation from like the 1930s, where characters' arms looked, well, like rubber, like they weren't actually jointed or anything. And I remember as a kid seeing replays. I'm not old enough to have been around in the 30s, but I saw replays of those, and those were creepy as hell.
Yeah, those black and white ones.
Yeah.
I think they're taking some of those characters and actually turning them into like horror game characters now too, because they're made of ink, and there was like that was the conceit, was that we know we're made of ink, we flow.
Oh.
But yeah, that Renzo cover, that's fire. Now who's doing the interiors?
The interiors is the guy here on the left. His name is Caius.
Caius, okay. Yeah, that's they're both good. I'd like to. I can't wait till the campaign launches on August 13th. People, set your calendars. In fact, you don't even have to set your calendar. If you just go to the link and put your email address in, Brian will tell you when it launches, and then you can just click on it and follow right through. It's
right
real
here.
easy to do.
It's free to do that. Give me your email address, and if you do, when I launch, you'll get a discount tier.
Always
Email
a good
to you.
reason to sign up.
And then, if you recall the banner that RJ used to advertise this stream, you saw the version of Projectile Reptile drawn by 6 a.m. Comics. If you're one of the first 100 backers, you get a magnet of that drawing.
Ooh.
And it's substantial. I mean, it's a big magnet, too. It's like this.
Yeah, I bet it's probably die cut, not circular or something.
Correct. Yep, it's die cut. Yep.
Yeah, those die cut magnets are beautiful. I've got a whole mini fridge full of them here. Everything from Confederate Monster to Painkiller Jane. Lots of stuff. Yeah, so you're already thinking then of what your stretch goals and other non-book items are going to be with this?
That's right. Yeah. So for the add-ons, one add-on will be a set of 5 chibi stickers by Alex Thompson. And Alex did the chibi stickers for the Siamese campaign. Not only does he do a great job, but he's so professional, so considerate. If I ask him for a chibi of, let's just use Black Eagle, for example, he'll give me 5 or 6 different versions and ask me which one do I prefer, and then that's the one he'll finish up in color and everything. So he's very customer service oriented and just does a great job. That's one of the add-ons. Another add-on will be, for those of you who missed Siamese, it'll be the entire graphic novel Siamese, but with a brand new cover by the original co-creator of Siamese, Cy Lim. And Cy is a artist from New Zealand that I hooked up with years ago, and he's been doing art for me on various projects. He unfortunately, I begged him to be an interior artist, but he just doesn't have the time for sequentials. He can do a pinup now and then, but he is a prolific artist in New Zealand and Australia. He works for a company that is their version of Amazon, quite frankly. It's called Mighty Ape, and you can buy virtually everything from them, just like you can from Amazon. But what's interesting about the art he does is he has the license through his company to make guerrilla versions of, you name it, whether it's Harry Potter, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC. I mean, they have so many licensed products that he's allowed to make in guerrilla form. I don't know how they did it, quite honestly, but he's been doing it for years, and it's very cool what he does.
just gorilla drawings or like gorilla plushies or?
Well, I don't know if they've ever made plushies. They'd be missing an opportunity if they didn't. But yeah, what I know of him is he does their advertisements include and feature these licensed products as gorillas.
Very
mighty
cool.
apes.
Yeah, makes perfect sense because you're going
Right.
to sell their products, so there's a symbiotic relationship there.
Exactly.
Is one of the stretch goals going to continue my currency collection?
Yes, sir. I am definitely looking forward to making the Projectile Reptile Challenge coin.
This thing's heavy.
Yeah, it's substantial. I mean, this coin. My son introduced me to the challenge coins. He actually got one. He's a airborne ranger combat medic, and he got one for teaching the Belgian army their parachuting.
Yeah, they're cool. I've got two of them now. The thing is, I don't know what do I do with them.
They do have for sale display cases. They're not expensive. They're just little wooden cutouts that they stand up. If you remember the little tiles you used to get with Scrabble,
Yes.
and you'd get the little board so that your opponent wouldn't see the letters you have. They've got little slots like that where you can set your challenge coin on those.
If I carried all my challenge coins with me in my front pocket, they would pull my pants down. Because both of them. But especially the Siamese one, that thing's got heft to it. I was really surprised when that thing came out because I'd gotten coins before from visiting Six Flags and Grant's Farm and your basic little tourist theme park attraction things, and they've always been like very, very light, almost aluminum kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
This is, you can put that in your hand, you can feel you've got something in your hand.
Yeah, it is substantial. So I do love how it came out. I'm looking forward to making one for Projectile Reptile.
Yeah, Heroinberg also has it. And Heroinberg, you should be making coins with your heroines on them.
You've got so many characters.
If we can't get a deck of cards, then come on, coins.
Now, I'm going to show you an example of one of the other stretch goals. Now, this one here isn't my IP. This belongs to Vinny Tartamella. He did Shadow of the Kraken.
Yeah.
And he did this acrylic standee of one of his characters. So I'm going to have an acrylic standee of Projectile Reptile, but in addition to having the die cut character in the front, there will also be like a Western scene behind him, like a postcard-sized acrylic background.
Very nice.
So that's one of the stretch goals there. And another stretch goal will be additional content, and that will be an 8-page chapter added to Projectile Reptile featuring another character called Dr. Primordial. And Dr. Primordial will be in Projectile Reptile in a cameo fashion.
Good guy or bad guy?
He is anti-hero, I guess.
Okay.
So I guess mostly good guy. Mostly good guy.
I always those acrylic standees though. Those are very cool. And there's the folks at Miskatonic High. They were doing the acrylic standees. They're up to like issue 15 now. So with issue 14, they put out their last acrylic standee because they had every campaign was like, here's one of the characters, here's one of the characters. And with that last one, they're like, oh yeah, here's the base that you can put them all in. And,
nice.
And it included the acrylic standee of the logo. So it was like, here's your entire collection standing up with the comic book logo. And it was rearrangeable too. You could put the characters anywhere on the base you wanted it, as long as it fit into the slot. Fantastic looking thing. If you want to be thinking forward towards the rest of your Dojo Kun universe characters.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I love that.
I love giving away ideas. Especially
I'm going to shamelessly steal that one.
Yeah, because you get Siamese out sometime, and if you just have an artist give with an artist say, hey, at some point this is going to be the full diorama. How should they all kind of sort of look? And then you don't have to follow it exactly, but you can build toward that.
Right. I like it.
It's interesting. With this launching on I almost said October 13th, August 13th. That's a good 2 months away yet.
Right.
How much of the book do you think will be finished by that point?
This is definitely going to be a book funded by the crowdfunding, but we are producing pages in the interim. So we've got 6 pages done so far. So another 2 months probably could get us maybe another 10 pages. So the artist is pretty quick though on, in producing these pages. I'd say he can turn them around, maybe get me a page every 2 days, but that's not because he's only working on my project. He's got other things too. But I did tell him once this funds, then we're going to ramp up the speed. And he said, I'm ready. Just let me know when you've got your campaign funded and I'll hit the ground running even quicker. So
do you have an idea on when it's going to fund? And folks, this is not Brian's first rodeo here. This is you fulfilled books before in the past.
Right. So before I found crowdfunding, I was publishing books for about 6 years under the Dojo Kun universe, and got about 12 comic books that I published before. Then with Siamese, well, wait, let me back up a second. I was posting my characters on Facebook, and a member of the Indie Comics Network reached out to me and said, Brian, those characters are pretty cool and all, but you really should have them published before you put them on Facebook. I'm like, oh, yeah, they are published, dude. He's like, oh, they are? So I showed him my website. He's like, oh, man, you've got to get on shows on YouTube then and start, mingling with this network. And so he introduced me to CG and particularly Michael Bancroft's show. I started watching that and then went right into watching Add-Ons stuff with Joe Sontag and Sean Arendt, and started branching out to, I'll call it that corner of CG. Certainly I've discovered Ethan and John and Shane and those. But
there
guys.
are multiple corners, like you say.
Yes. Yes.
I was
right.
liking CG to as soon as Richard coined, or he didn't really coin the term, but as soon as it began with Richard Meyer, that was Martin Luther nailing up the proclamation on the chapel door. Since that point, it's been United Southern CG, Free Will CG. It's all over the place, and there's only one real one. So.
Yeah, and it's all under the same umbrella, in my opinion. In fact, I am actually looking forward to the day where the label doesn't matter anymore. We're all just making great comics.
Yes.
That would be awesome. So yeah, I've been watching Bancroft's show ever since, and that was the fall of 2020. In 2021, I funded Siamese funded in 3 days, and I fulfilled on time. And now that I knew all about crowdfunding, listen to me, not quite.
You had successfully navigated the minefield of it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, not quite. And then I did another campaign. I did another 2. One was a licensed product from an award-winning author who had done a trilogy. And unfortunately, the goal on that one had to be a little too lofty. And I think people saw the goal and balked at that and said, yeah, I don't think he's going to make it. So they didn't back that one. The other one was an anthology.
Prophecy.
What's that?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, exactly. And the other one was an anthology. And because there were no big names associated with it, that's a really tough sell. So I did learn a lot from those. I reached out to the community and I said, any of you who didn't back Toro Tales, it's actually To'uro'u Tales, if you didn't back it, let me know why. Go ahead and give me constructive criticism. I'd like to know what was it about that campaign that did not resonate with you. One of them, honestly, was the title, because To'uro'u Tales was difficult for a lot of people to pronounce because it's Japanese. It's not Toro like it looks, because Toro is Spanish for bull, but To'uro'u is the stone lantern that's in my company's logo. So that's why I felt there was a tie-in, but most people didn't know that. I'd have to explain it. And if you have to explain it, it's not resonating.
Cleverer than your audience.
Right.
Or cleverer than your audience is capable of becoming.
Well, even if you could look it up, are you going to spend the time to do that? Probably not. So that's one thing. And there was a couple other things. I got some great advice from Aldous on the farm. I got some great advice from Bancroft, from Nefarious, from Aerith. So, Snuggie. So I took that all to heart. And those stories might see the light of day again, but under a different package and with better marketing, and just it'll come at you with more appeal, let's say.
We'll be looking for those, and maybe call it Stone Lantern Stories or something. I know Stone Lantern Stories.
SLS.
Yeah, I mean, I know you had the alliteration thing going with Tohoro Tales, so I'd like just keep it with Stone Lantern Stories. Were they stone lanterns? I mean, that's
yes.
They carved it out. Wow.
Yep. The top, if you will, is a separate piece that sat on top of the base.
I'm looking at it right here.
Yep. So that whole top would lift off, but since it was stone, that was not an easy thing to do. We've gone to some famous gardens in the area and seen many of those Tohoro'us in the gardens, and I always take pictures of them. My wife is like rolling her eyes but being very patient because she knows it means something to me. Okay, there's another one, go ahead.
So they just fill them with oil and then burn the oil or something, or what was the light source?
In some cases, yes, but in many cases it was just candles.
Okay, so you wanted to make sure it had been out for a while before you lifted the stone off of it, because otherwise it's like...
Oh yeah, the stone would be very hot. Yep.
Yeah. It took me a second to read Hicks Villain's message here. I wasn't sure where you're going with there, but I'm always happy to see 70 show up. I was sorry it was from Tohoro Tales.
Yeah.
That's the thing about crowdfunded comics, is that just because you fail doesn't mean you're not ever going to see that comic. I've seen people launch, relaunch, and then launch a third time with a retooled method of going out and then making it.
Yep. So I'm going to grab Siamese for a second. I want to show you something that is going to be true for this next one here. Just give me 1 second.
All right, cool. And while he's gone, we'll mention that Joe Sontag is going to be over on Pop XP for Reaper Destroyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 9 o'clock Eastern Time, you can, of course, pop over and catch the mic stand over on Mike Walter's channel. He'll be starting up right after we're done here at the top of the hour. So you've got two places where you can go and get more comic book news and comic book fulfillment entertainment. And he's back.
Awesome. So on Siamese, this is the regular cover for Siamese. It was hefty. It was 120 pages. On the spine, let me see if I can get it. There is a number 1.
I see that.
So Projectile Reptile will have a number 2. And the reason I'm doing that is I want a Dojo-kun Universe reading order. So that one will also be perfect bound. It'll have the number 2 on the spine. My plan, though, after Projectile Reptile, is to go right into Siamese 2. When I do, that one, however, will have a 3 here.
You're going to mess people up, Brian. Like, I've got Siamese 1 and 3. I can't find 2 anywhere.
So, yeah, I'll just have to make that clear, like maybe on the Indicia page, why that is true.
Yeah, it's too late because it's been published, but it's almost like if it had been like, Dojo-kun Tales, Siamese, Dojo-kun Tales, Projectile Reptile. And then everything would have been Dojo-kun Tales, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Dang it. Where were you when I started this stuff?
We have a consulting business, Brian. You can call us.
Well, I think I started this stuff before I knew that, RJ.
Yeah, I know. We're always late to the party. The stuff we're getting ready to do, Brian, I'll tell you after the show, because usually when I had brainstorms, it helps other people make money and spend their own money. And I'm like, yay, I get nothing out of that except the pleasure of seeing products come to life. The distribution thing was one of these things that hit me like a bolt of lightning, and it's been going so strong and so well. I mean, I'm surrounded by books right now that I'm packaging up as soon as we're done here. I've been doing them most of the afternoon. So
let me ask you this. Obviously, yes. No monetary answers, but is it going well? Like, is it worth it?
It is. It's definitely worth it.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm very open about the monetary, because all the invoices are like, here's what we ship, here's what we're shipping out for you, and here's the cost of the Gemini, here's the cost of the bag and the board, here's the cost of the tape and the label and the bag that we're going to put it all in, and then the postage, and then handling domestically $2. I make $2 per package that gets mailed out.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
usually I'm doing like a 250 book order. Like, that's a car payment. That's, it's an easy thing. And then I look at things like, like that umbrella guy says, hey there, here's the garage door open. We just got 18,000 units dried today. I'm like, that's quit my job money. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Right.
and the lightning bolt that hit me earlier last week might just do that. I'm
Awesome.
very excited. I'm waiting for some physical product to hit my hand, and if that physical product comes out, then yes, Studio 38, we are into distribution. We are a distributor. We fulfill for people in crowdfunding all the time, and we'd be happy to do that. Ideally, before you launch the campaign, so that we can tell you what to set your shipping costs at, and you don't lose money. And even then, it's no guarantee, because I've talked with people like, okay, this is your product. It weighs this much. Put this much shipping on it. You'll have a cushion. It'll be reasonable, and you'll be able to pay it, because you're not. My business doesn't come out of your pocket. That's the goal. You're making the customers pay the shipping. So you keep your book money. You send the shipping money to me, and we take care of it. And then they go in like, you know what? If we hit this stretch goal here, we're going to put metal covers on everything. I'm like, well, just throw those weights right out the window.
Right.
But yeah, it is exciting. We're a diamond chip, Studio 38. We're working on. My goal is to turn all of you guys like Brian into DC and Marvel, and I'll be happy to be the diamond between them and the customer, getting things out to everybody.
By that, he means make us as successful as DC and Marvel were in the beginning, not turn us into them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not. Look. This is something walking around in a DC and Marvel skin suit. This is not the books we read when we were kids.
Right.
Yeah, I would have a strict no metal covers clause, but you know what? If they change their mind in the middle of campaign, go with God. You're going to end up paying. You're going to pay me anyway. But we're shipping plushies. We're shipping T-shirts. If it's in your campaign, we're shipping it. We're Critical Blast, dude. What do you mean? What's the name of it? It's Critical Blast. If you go to criticalblast.com, one of the tabs at the top will be logistics, and that will take you to the Critical Blast logistics page. And that'll be your introduction. You can email us, and we will work things out.
Now, if you include something like this, make sure you weigh it, because this does have heft, like we were saying.
Oh,
this increased the weight.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing crowdfunders don't think about, Brian. This stuff has weight.
Oh,
it's not much, but it is weight. And if you're at say 14 and a half ounces with your book and your poster and your coin and your Gemini mailer, and then you wrap this around it, you might just find yourself over that 1 pound mark and into the next territory of higher cost, because the post office measured, media mail, they measure everything at every 1 pound limitation.
Right.
And it doesn't take, if you get close, it doesn't take much to push it over.
That's true. Yes. And also too, a lot of people, I'm sure they're starting to really come around to taking this into consideration. But if you're going to add things to your campaign, keep in mind, if you want them to go in that Gemini mailer, they have to be flat.
Yes. Yes, they do.
So, and the coin is just barely not flat, but it is not flat.
Well, but I could get that in a Gemini mailer, and I have put.
Yeah, I did, but it was like it was close to not being flat enough. So.
Yeah. Well, what we do is, why are we talking about this? I don't know. We put the comic in the Gemini, the internal flaps get closed, and then, any trading cards or extra stuff like buttons will be put into a sleeve, and that sleeve will get taped to the closed flaps. And then we close the outer flaps, and then we put the sealed Gemini in a bag.
So yeah, those are nice. They get me in trouble, RJ.
Oh well, Most of them in white bags, plain white bags. But if you want to have your stuff printed on it, it can be done at a higher cost. But if it's raining when the mailman carelessly drops your package on your door stoop because it won't fit in your mailbox, the cardboard will not soak up the water and into your comic.
Right.
Nobody wants that. Aaronberg, you're right. We're not like Diamond, because so far nobody's gotten damaged books from us. I just saw a tweet before I came on here from folks out at Fantastic Comics in California, and they're like, "We just got 6 comics spread across 2 books with no packing material at all," and they were just like in the corner and bent. One of them was like a Grendel omnibus, so it was like big software book with a couple of comics. It was just like mangled.
Oh
like,
man.
Yeah, we don't do that. Yes.
Studio 38. Shots fired.
Shots fired. We're coming for you, Diamond. We are. Yeah.
So I know you were talking about that the show goes to the top of the hour. So
get me back on track here.
Yeah, let's go back to Projectile Reptile and or
this thing.
Yeah, the website too. So like I was talking about earlier, I've got 12 other comic books, and they are all print to order. You can get them at any time, and they're available now. It's at dojokuncomics.wixsite.com/dojokuncomics. Sounds long. It's not complicated, but not only will that take you to my library of available comics, but it will also take you to a project I put together when I first went and did the grind for Siamese. Oh yeah, thank you.
I was looking to see if he put it out there. He has. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Heroinberg. Yeah, that's great. So I put together something called CG Guide. It's not limited to CG YouTubers, but it mostly contains CGers. Some of them are CG adjacent or just completely neutral on the whole thing, and their friends. Basically, I went on to 80 shows when I was shilling for Siamese, and I kept track of them all and when they were. Now, the lineup has changed since then. It's been a couple of years. Some shows come and go, and I've tried to keep up. But if any of you are watching and you have a show and you'd like it to be featured in CG Guide, please contact me. You can go through my website. It'll provide you an opportunity to send me an email, or it's real simple. It's just dojokuncomics@gmail.com. And I'll get you on the CG Guide. I update it whenever I get new information. So if you tell me today, it'll be updated tomorrow, just to keep things fresh and concurrent or current. It's
That's
now
like herding cats.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Some of the really big names, I guess, just couldn't be bothered to tell me, so I had to ask other people when they streamed. That's okay. So when you go to my website and you go to the CG Guide, it's far too small to really effectively read it. You'll have to. The whole point is it's a PDF that you can download, and then you can, whenever you need it, you download it and you can refer to that.
It's do enough people keep a schedule for that to work out?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that there are probably 100 shows on that schedule. And then at the bottom of the schedule are some that actually reached out to me and said, well, I just stream every now and then, but would you mind putting it in there somewhere to say that, I have a YouTube channel? And I said, sure, I'll put it down in a section that is, variable times kind of thing. So there's only a few of those, but those are on there as well.
You know what I would use that for, Brian? I would get on that site, and that, by the way, that site looks like this right here. I would look at that schedule and find out when the people not broadcasting, because every time I go to so many shows, and I say it on mine all the time too. Like, well, we're here, but so and so just fired up the stream, so we know you're not listening right now.
Right.
Like you can find that sweet spot. Say, oh, look, nobody's broadcasting here, nobody's listening then either, because they don't expect it. But or if you want to, maybe you want to go up against some of the big boys and say, we're gonna take your people. That would be kind of cool too. But that is where did you say that was? The Shill Shack or?
Nope, it's the CG Guide.
Oh, right at the bottom. For some reason.
And it'll take you there automatically, and then there it is on the left. And there's a button in the upper right for where you can download it.
Right there. That's the download button.
Yep.
Oh, I can just make it bigger here. Oh, it's in a iframe. Okay. Yeah, this is cool. Look at this. Critical Blast open mic Sundays, 8 p.m. Yep, there we all are. Well, we're not on Monday or Tuesday. Well, we're on Tuesday. We're not on Monday. We're missing a day, Brian.
Oh, well, send me the info. I'll get you on there.
We are every weeknight except Friday.
Oh, okay.
And then that's only because some Fridays I travel and Fridays I don't. I'm like, yeah, it's a night off.
There you go. Sure, you deserve a night off.
I love that I love all the characters. Now, some of these characters are reminiscent of the public domain characters. Like, I look at Bog and I'm saying, yeah, that's the Heap. Canadian. Okay, this is not the same Canadian shield I saw. There's 2 Canadian shields out there, I believe, right?
There are. Yeah, we talked about perhaps even doing a crossover where they fight for the name or something.
Oh, yes. Ben Edlund did that with the Tick. Because he's got his universe is so full of heroes that how can you not have the same name as somebody else that you haven't met yet?
Right, right.
So when he shows up at the bar and they're like, "Who he is? I am the Tick." Oh, Barry's going to be pissed.
Right.
But yeah, I just like looking at all characters like this, where you just obviously these are the same 2 drawings. You shrink down. I'm like, yeah. Refrigerator magnets, please. Right there. Just I want the entire. Oh, no, Brian.
What?
You want to be a groundbreaker? You want to be a trendsetter?
Tell me.
You want to do something that nobody's done before?
A magnet campaign.
Not a magnet campaign. Not a mag. Oh. No, I'm talking about a stretch goal or an add-on kind of thing here.
Okay. All right.
This is going to test your age. Color forms.
Oh. Yep, I passed. I'm old.
Okay. Look, here's the city. Here are all the Dojo Kun Comics characters. Just stick them all over the place and then put them back and play with them again.
Right. Oh, those are awesome. I loved those things when I was a kid.
I wonder if they could be made, if somebody would have the capability of making custom color form kits.
You know what else they might be able to make is those shrinky dinks.
Well, yeah, I mean they sell the blank sheets. You could print. Well, you could either have the things printed on there where you could trace them. They're flexible sheets until they're baked. I bet you could run those through a laser printer or even a toner printer and print your character. Oh, now I've got to find some of these and try it.
Oh, he's going to make a note.
I'm doing this to you, not vice versa.
Yep, Hero and Brig has the right idea. You heat them in the oven. Yep. On a cookie sheet.
It was, and of course, they stink the house up. And we failed at them so many times when I was a little kid because we'd put them in the oven and they'd start to shrink up and then they'd start to curl. And my mother would pull myself. Oh, they've been in too long. And then I realized they're supposed to curl and then they'll flatten out again. They curl up and then they shrink. They tighten back up to a flat thing. I never did get the ones that you pull them out hot and then curl them around the glass and they stay on the glass. That never worked.
Oh, okay. That I don't remember.
Yeah, it's what they showed in the TV commercial. So yeah, they would be cool if you you put a soda straw through it, through a hole, and then you leave a hole there, and then you could have like a keychain when it was done.
Oh, right.
Oh, wait a second. Show us what you mean, old man. Haven't seen it. Too young. Color forms or shrinky dinks, Tatsu? Which ones are you wanting to see? Because I can pull up. I could probably pull up a YouTube video of either one. You young people.
I mean, so could they, RJ.
This is true. You know how to use YouTube. Yeah, forget it.
Or Google.
Google. It's you guys live on Google. Come on. But I've got to do it now. I've got nothing better to do with my life than find some blank shrinky dinks and see if I can't print. Because if I can, I'm going to have a whole new thing to put onto the membership goodie list. I'll just pre-shrink them and send them out. No, I won't pre-shrink them. I want you to color them and shrink them yourself. That's most of the fun, is getting to do it yourself. Okay, Brian, your assignment is to find color forms.
Okay.
And remember, not just the single pose. You want multiple poses of your character, so you can have them like kneeling and punching and
flying and
yeah. Oh, God, those were fun. Simplest things made us happy when we were little kids.
Nowadays, kids though will be, these graphics aren't intense enough.
Oh, yeah. All right, Brian, thank you so much for bringing Projectile Reptile. That is what we've been talking about really this whole time. Projectile Reptile, the campaign. Click the link, sign up for it, get notified on August the 13th when this thing launches, so that you can do what you do and throw money at it and get this thing funded.
That's right.
It looks like all kinds of fun. The whole universe looks like all kinds of fun, and every book you put out is just another little window on this house you're building that lets us see into it. So
thank you so much for having me on, RJ. You're always fun to talk to, and I love the fact that you helped me get eyes on the project.
That's what we're here for. That's what we try to do. Folks in the chat, those are your eyes he's talking about. So we definitely appreciate you being here. We don't have a show without you, so we're glad you're here. And,
hail the chat.
Yes, always hail the chat. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.